she's an extraterrestrial who is reincarnated into a human body, and she gets her information from extraterrestrial life and other divine sources, and she does a very good job in understanding and expanding consciousness and just putting things in terms that people can understand. And also, a couple of dots that it's very important to connect is the mechanics of karma and how that connects to reincarnation. So you have positive karma and negative karma, and if you have enough negative karma and all that baggage, you won't be moving up to a higher dimension. And what we're looking to do is release all that baggage. So that's that. The next thing, the next requirement is to acknowledge the existence of the collective consciousness. And basically, the collective consciousness is a set of shared ideas, beliefs, and moral attitudes which operate as a unifying force within society. Communicating with this source is one way to gain access to the source of all knowledge. And this also gets into the mechanics of prayer, understanding that. But you want to just acknowledge the fact that the collective consciousness does exist, and I'll be going in a little bit deeper. I'm going to be coming back to that several times in the process of this. The next thing is that you'll want to acknowledge the importance of righteous indignation. Now, Jesus Christ indicated that was very important for the human race to realize that, because when you're expanding your consciousness, you're going to get angry, and it's important to know that it's okay to be angry. If you expanded and heightened your sense of awareness beyond the people around you, and you're mad that the people around you were attempting to keep you at a low level of consciousness, it's okay to be mad, and that's what righteous indignation is all about. The truth comes basically in 3 stages, and some people say it comes in 5, some people say it comes in 7. But for the purpose of this creation, we're just going to keep things very simple, and we're going to say that it comes in 3. The first being denial. No, it couldn't be. The second being anger, and that's when you realize, well, it is, and you're pissed about it. And then the third stage is acceptance, where, okay, it is what it is, there's nothing you can do about the way it is, and then you just accept it and deal with reality the way it is. And we're going to be bringing a lot of truth forward. We're not going to be working with anything that's not the truth, as far as we know. So, and also what you want to do is you don't want to harp on, you want to get right past the denial. And if you're denying something and you kind of know in the back of your mind, well, it kind of is true, you want to move right on to anger. And you don't want to be angry forever. You just want to move right past that to acceptance. Be angry long enough to contemplate it and deal with it and fix it. But we just want to, because we're going to be bringing a lot of truth through. So depending on who you are, you're going to be getting angry about different things. So you just want to skate right through it. The next thing is to understand the mechanics of mind control. Basically, mind control is what prevents people from evolving. And what we want to do is release all forms of that. And in order to release all forms of that, and not be susceptible to mind control, you have to understand the fact that mind control is happening to you. So, the definition of mind control is a process in which a group or individual systematically uses manipulative, unethical methods to persuade others to conform to the wishes of the manipulators, often to the detriment of the person or group being manipulated. Also known as brainwashing, coercive persuasion, mind abuse, thought control, or thought reform. So that's what it is. This one particular description and perception of mind control has four major components, which is behavioral control, information control, thought control, and emotional control. Under behavioral control, they control where, how, and who a person associates with, clothes, colors, and hairstyles. They control the food you eat, how much sleep you get, financial dependence, minimal amount of time spent on leisure or thinking, and thinking is very important. It'll require permission for major decisions, but this is a free will zone, and we're going to be touching on that later. You have free will in this particular dimension, or the dimension that I was born in. Unless you're an angel or extraterrestrial, then there's other things involved, and we'll get into that. Rewards and punishments. And a lot of times the rewards and punishments are given for, a punishment is given for something that you did was good, and they'll reward bad behavior with money. Well, that kind of, that's a form of mind control under behavior control. Rigid rules and regulations, which there's plenty of, that are not in harmony with the laws of creation of the universe. And the need for obedience and dependency, and that's a conditioned thing. If you have a need for being obedient or dependent on someone else, that's mind control. So that's all under behavioral control. The next one is information control, the use of deception, holding back or distorting information, or outright lying. Which we're not going to be doing any of that here, so you don't have to worry about seeing that on this camera. But when you turn on the mainstream television, watching the news or listening to people that normally you would believe that you could trust, a lot of times sometimes they're not being honest. And once you are able to see that, then you're not susceptible to it anymore. You just move right past it. Access to occult sources of information is discouraged. Occult meaning hidden. Well, all this information is hidden information. Pretty much everything that I'm dealing with here is not in the public school system. If it was in the public school system, I wouldn't be talking about it, because most likely people would already know it. But so basically how I'm doing this is, if it's scholarly, it comes last. Most of the information that I'm getting is coming from another dimension. So, compartmentalization of information, and the leadership decides who needs to know, and that's a big problem with the pyramid structure of the government that we have on this planet. Spying on members of the group is encouraged, and that's a big problem on this planet too. And who has control of that technology is a big problem. Reporting deviant thoughts, feelings, and actions is encouraged. Unethical use of confession. Sins used to abolish identity boundaries, to manipulate and mind control. That's one big thing that I would like to shed light on. Because if you're going to a priest or someone who says you have to confess all your sins to stay out of the fires of hell, well, you're asking for forgiveness from a priest. I mean, you didn't do anything to him. Plus the fact, when you understand telepathy and understand how the pineal gland works and understand the effects of karma and understand the laws of creation, you look back at confession and you really understand it to be just nothing more than a mechanism of control, and it's not a very nice thing. But basically, once you learn about telepathy, you'll get past all that. I was raised strict Catholic and believed in the Catholic religion for most of my life, and it caused me to conduct myself in an extremely dysfunctional manner for the majority of my life, and it's very important to it's just mind control, just to get past it. The next is thought control. The need to internalize the groups of doctrine as truth. And an example of that is like looking at a map and thinking that you're looking at reality. Like when you're looking at a map of the United States and you see all the states colored different colors, it doesn't really look like that. And all those lines are imaginary lines. They're just thought up. It was just a survey that was done, and people think, oh, there's a state here, there's a state there, there's a line here, there's a line there. And actually these lines don't even exist. And when you look at the planet from outer space, you see right there that the lines don't exist, and that's just it's a form of mind control. Another part of thought control is loaded languages and understanding what the words really mean. And the English language is riddled with words and terms that mean something different from what the people believe they mean. And understanding that for the most part the English language is meant to trick you and control you is in a very important way to expand your consciousness in that area. The next one is a rejection of rational analysis and critical thinking and constructive criticism. Basically you're not supposed to question the leadership. That's what they're trying to get you not to do. Follow it because it's a direct order, follow it because it says so on the paper, follow it just because, we won't pay you any paper money if you don't. And that's a big problem. And alternative belief systems are viewed as illegitimate. And in regards to a lot of religions and governments, everything that I'm doing here is going to be viewed as illegitimate. But all I can say about that before it even happens is all I'm doing is telling the truth and doing the very best I possibly can for every being and manifest. And then emotional control is the last out of the four. And that's when you manipulate and narrow the range of a person's feelings. Excessive use of guilt or excessive use of fear, and right there we get into talking about media and religions there again. Ritual public confession of sins, and that's prominent in the judicial system, and we'll be getting into the truth in regards to the judicial system.